Welcome back, everyone, to our Groundskeeper Chat series. This is going to be the last episode of 2025 live from Palm Springs. And I am joined by two wonderful guests, Miss Mira. And is your last name Emma?
Yes, two first names.
I'm sure you get that literally all the time.
Yes.
And then Mr. Max Casper. Welcome, folks.
How are you?
You know, I'm on my last leg at this rate. You guys are going to bring the energy for me.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much for coming. And, you know, I've known about you through, you know, the powers that be, that is, you know, X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it. And Maritza Macera has definitely been a big champion of yours, and she's a friend of mine. But I've never been able to, we met in the glorious bathroom this week.
Yes.
So that's where our origin story takes place. And last night, Max and I, we played blackjack.
Ooh, winners?
I won.
One of us.
Yep. Not Max, unfortunately.
That's okay.
Some people have to win for other people to, you know.
Exactly.
You're sharing the
wealth.
It was a team project.
100%. But Max and I have a long history of harassing one another. So I thought he would be a great person to include. And if anyone's hearing the cheers here, I'm assuming they just announced the Student Challenge winners.
Yes, the Student Challenge is about to,
Okay, very cool. So I will be very interested to see who it is. What is your guys' predictions?
Well, I hope Iowa State, obviously.
Okay.
Being an Iowa State grad, but we'll see.
And what about you, Max? You got any horse in that race?
I don't have a horse in that race, but I noticed there was a lot more teams this year, I felt like.
Yeah.
I felt like there was schools that I'd never seen in the past, and I saw Hawaiian shirts out of, I don't know who it was,
Very
but
cool.
like they were dressing the part, they were doing different things. So
yeah.
no, it was good to see a lot more young people out, you know, trying to be a part of it.
100%.
So
I think this is it's maybe my fourth or fifth show. And we always remark on how it grows every year and how cool that is. And obviously a goal of the industry. Max's turf origin story is one of my favorites. So we'll save his. Or unless
I can't wait.
Unless you want him to go first.
You go first.
We'll make him go first. And then I'm excited to hear yours as well. So take it away, Mr.
Oh boy.
Max Casper.
So I guess it goes back to I used to be a baseball coach, and I was coaching baseball up in northern Minnesota, and we were doing other duties as assigned, and you know, doing our, you know, helping out with other sports and doing other stuff. And I was keeping the scorebook for our club hockey team, and looked over at the scoreboard keeper and shook her hand and introduced myself, and you know, she said her name was Jessica Withrow. And I went, God, that name kind of like something rings a bell there. I couldn't really put two and two together. And, you know, she goes, oh, yeah, my sister's the head groundskeeper for the Reno Aces. And I went, oh, I was like, what is that, like Las Vegas area? Or like, I didn't really know. I'm in northern, I'm 70 miles.
Where Reno is.
Right. I'm 70 miles from the Canadian border in Minnesota.
Oh,
like,
geez. Who was it?
oh, boy. Somebody won.
Jeez. Will you guys tell us who was it? They don't know.
I don't know.
Nobody knows.
They're living in
They're
their
loud.
own world.
They're excited. Somebody won something.
Wonderful. Excited for them.
The winner was,
No idea.
we don't know.
We'll tune you guys in
The
at the
suspense
end.
is
We have
real.
breaking
Sorry.
news, but we don't know what it is yet.
Sorry, Max. Take it away.
No, but so I didn't even know where Reno was. I was,
Yeah.
you know, 70 miles from the Canadian border. Like, I'm more hockey country at that point. So, you know, I followed up with her sister later and kind of followed what they were doing in Reno, and kind of got interested in it a little bit, and, you know, went back to Jessica and asked for her sister's number and said, hey, can I just, you know, give her a call and see, you know, what it's about, see if she'll even answer my phone call,
Yeah.
you know, talk to me for 5 minutes, 25 minutes, whatever, like just kind of hear a little bit more about it. And she, you know, she answered the phone, we talked, we had a really good conversation, and she had a couple people that were applying for the full-time role that they were hiring.
Morgan Hunter.
Famously Morgan Hunter.
You are, you could never be her.
No.
You were reminded every minute of the job.
I'm very lucky, however, that
Large
Morgan had
shoes to fill.
another opportunity. So Morgan had another opportunity, so I kind of got lucky on that one. But the other applicants, I think she had 4 or 5 applicants. They all, for various reasons, you know, turned the spot down. And she called me back and goes, hey, like, I don't mean to be rude, but like, I'm kind of stuck with you, and you're kind of stuck with me if you want to get out. Like, we're each other's only option. And it was just one of those things. It was right place, right time for both of us. And She was in her first year being the head groundskeeper there. And I was just getting into it. So I was, looking for any type of, help or, education, teach me something, show me how to do things. And we hit the ground running that first year, went through it and ended up being her assistant out there for 4 years.
Very cool.
Until, this last fall she moved on and went to Arizona State and she's in charge of softball down there now and really likes it. Been down to visit and everything and went to go see the cat. She took the cat with her, but so we always
lost the cat.
We always joke
Yep.
we go see the cat, and then Leah's there too. And,
Yeah.
we stay at the cat's house.
More so for the cat.
So
Shout out to Smalls.
yeah, Smalls is doing well. She's living her house cat life now, so she's
Beautiful.
a little less active, but that's okay. Good for her.
And you told me last night that if you had $1 for every time you were asked, big shoes to fill, like, what are you're the new Leah, so it's only appropriate for me to ask you that. No, I won't do that to you. But really, what are you looking forward to, kind of carrying on that visibility that the Reno Aces crew has?
Yeah, I think, it's become such a thing that it's gonna be something I had never thought I would do, but because it was so prominent and she did such a good job on the social media end of things, it's something that I think I'm going to have to lean into a little bit more to, not Leah leaves and it just drops off and we're never heard from again. We're still going to have some stuff out there and be able to, it might not be as easy to find, but you'll have to find me on Twitter or find me on Instagram or whatever. But
handle yet?
Yeah, I'm still old man.
I'm
not a big Twitter guy, not a big tweeting guy type of thing. But
you want to know what you could do at this point is be like, if anybody ever asks, be like, dude, I had a huge following on TikTok, and like then they closed the platform, and so now I'm just back to square one.
Yeah, I'm just starting out now. So
different creative juices got to start flowing.
Right.
I love it.
Might be something we kind of put on the assistants this year to
nice.
Either.
You've got the creativity in Colin. I can tell you that much
for sure. Absolutely, 100% there. So
there'll be more crew TikTok dances coming out of your corner.
You won't see me in them, but they're probably
you're gonna be front and center.
I'll be behind the camera now. I don't have to be in it now. So.
Oh my goodness! Your story is one of my favorites, and you're like a pillar in my like SFMA experience because I met you at one of those first shows and how we've just been able to maintain that connection along the way. So I'm excited to see what happens for you, friend, and I'll be rooting along for you the whole way.
I appreciate it. No, I think the same of you. You're the first person I met in the industry.
So cool.
As someone not in the industry.
Yeah,
so, I think we'll always have that tie. So,
we sat next to each other at a women's luncheon, and Max was the only male in the room. He's like, "What the hell did my boss just make me come to?"
We had just gotten in off a red eye flight. Like we were
one eye open.
I think we still had our bags with us.
Hysterical.
And we sat down, and Meg was sitting next to me. So
wonderful.
That is awesome.
Well, I love you, friend, and I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Well, and now we're gonna make you stick around because I'm very intrigued. I almost bumped you all together just so I could hear.
That would have been fair from everything I've heard. So
that tracks for you and I.
Right.
So Mira, tell us like, how did turf come on your radar? That's kind of my go-to question with new guests. Like, how did this industry pop up on your radar, and then when did you have that tipping point where you're like, okay, I'm gonna make this career?
Absolutely. So I grew up in Chicago.
Okay.
And I played baseball, soccer, and basketball. Those are my three. And growing up playing baseball with the boys, I always made sure that I was there, an hour before, hour after, make sure the infield was, dragged properly, make sure the outfield was cut precisely, make sure the lines were fresh.
Who instilled that in you? A coach or a parent?
Nothing. No idea. I just had this driving
backyard
passion.
Baseball video game?
Yeah. We turned our backyard into like a wiffle ball, like a mini Wrigley field, because the Cubs are our team.
Okay.
And so mini Wrigley, put up foul poles. We cut the grass a little bit lower, so the infield is all like. So I had a dream to be an MLB groundskeeper.
Okay.
Ahead. And so prior to that, I was an athlete. I played soccer, and I had a goal to go play Division I soccer.
Okay.
And so when I was looking at what I wanted to do, my mom sat down at the table one night and she's like, "What do you want to do with your life?" I'm like, I don't know. What's out there?
Because college is only 4 years long. Like if
Exactly.
you're gonna play, like you got to have something after that.
Exactly. So she's like, all right, let's get a good degree. Let's focus on this. I'm like, okay. And she's like, well, I found this turf grass management degree at Iowa State. Let's look
Shout
into
out
this.
to mom.
Exactly. And she said, I think this, has your name written all over it. I wanted to stick in sports. I wanted to give back to athletes, and I wanted to, instill our service into something. So, we sat down, looked at that, and I put my academics first above my athletics, and Iowa State came on top with both of them.
Nice.
So my brother and I we started a landscape business back at home, so we'd be walking up and down the street, mowing yards, hitting two houses at a time, and then go to soccer practice or go to baseball practice, or something would hit. So I just had a driving passion for turf, and that's what I want to make a career out of.
So cool. And so then you spent time at Iowa State. Was that under Tim Van Loo? Were you there at the same time?
Tim Van Loo was my first ever boss.
Okay.
Barb Clausen was my academic advisor with Adam Tomes, who's the president of SFMA. Cool. So they were great mentors.
Not bad mentors.
No, not at all. Step foot on campus and they're like, we have a job for you. Here are your classes. This is what you're going to do. And
amazing.
I'm like, I don't even know who you people are.
Yeah.
So to be able to have those mentors and just see the potential in me and bring the value in me allowed me to flourish even more.
Very cool. And then update us, where are you today?
So right now I'm the sports field manager at CPKC Stadium down in Kansas City Current. I'm with the Kansas City Current. We're in the NWSL.
Very cool.
And women's sports is booming right now.
Yeah.
Women's sports
How exciting.
is booming.
Yeah.
So we opened our first ever women's professional only stadium this past year. First ever in the world. And we're breaking ground on some new fields, a new stadium out at our training facility, and it's exciting times.
Well, very cool, and I really look forward to following along with both of what you guys got going on. But I appreciate you both coming on. I know it was a quick hop on, but they're I think shutting it down around here.
It's crazy.
And
it looks like it. It's clearing out.
I know. The week's almost over, which is kind of sad.
I know.
It's such a pain. Well, maybe not for you guys as much, but for us to come from Cleveland, like to come all the way to California, it's like, oh, geez, so I really want to do that. Then the minute you're here and you see someone that you know, and you just, it's like, oh, hell yeah. Like last night, I literally was on my last grain of energy. and I happened to walk past Max on the way out, and he said, if you go to the casino, I'm there. And
okay.
You'd been talking about it all
I
week.
rebounded
And we were
like
do it,
nobody has ever
didn't.
seen. Like a passion came out of nowhere. But I appreciate you guys helping me round out the show, and I really do look forward to following what you guys got going on this year.
I appreciate it.
Thanks
Thank
for
you
having
very
us.
much.
Appreciate it.
Welcome back, everyone, to our Groundskeeper chat series. I am your host, Meg Kruger. I am the content lead with Pioneer Athletics, and today I am joined by Mira Emma, and we met just a few weeks ago at Palm Springs SFMA conference, and we got 10 minutes of recording completed. You were my last chat of the whole 2-day stint. And I was just a fraction of a woman at that point. There was so little for me to give. So we recorded your turf origin story. But I was like, I had such a pleasure meeting you. Your story was so enticing for me that I was like, we need more. We need more Mira. So I hope I'm saying your first name right.
Yep, absolutely. You're right on.
Okay, and so you're double first names. They always tell you to watch out for those people.
I know. Well, technically triple. My middle name is Joy, so.
Oh, geez, Mira Joy Emma, welcome.
Well, thank you for having me.
Of course. And so we were just we're 15 minutes in, and I was like, we need to press record because we were just getting away from ourselves there. But we were talking about your wedding planning. So will you be keeping the 3 first names, or does your fiance have a regular last name?
He has a regular last name.
Okay.
His last name is Adamek, so I will be moving up and upgrading in the alphabet.
Look at that.
So I will be first from now on, I guess.
Okay. Yes. Just first.
Yes. It'll be Mira Adamek come December.
And you've had plenty of big major life events happening, but also everything that's happening in Kansas City for you and your organization. I think you called it the Department of Sunshine. Is you and your team has been, it's been making news globally. It's been making news just for women's sports, but for you to really be a part of that, how has I mean, how are you balancing that all? Typically people, it's like, you have a huge wave professionally, and then sometimes the personal will have a huge wave, but you're just kind of like tsunami all at once.
I embrace the tsunamis. That's the fun of life. Honestly, it's surreal being able to work here at the Kansas City Current, to be part of the first women's professional stadium built specifically for these women. And to just see all the constant events that are coming through, making history. And I mean, essentially women's sports is booming right now, and we're part of a movement. Like, this is part of something bigger than, it's just another league. Like, we're part of a movement right now and empowering other women and other females in not only sports, but also in just the world around us.
Definitely. No, it's like that, a lot of people have been calling it like the Caitlin Clark effect. But I think, especially with Major League Soccer, like, the female sports has such potential to take off because, we have football and that kind of like dominates a lot of our culture. And so I feel like men's soccer has had a hard time, having these players become, household names in a sense. But on the female side, I feel like there's huge potential there where this could be their thing, like the sport that in America we get really excited about.
Oh, totally. I mean, how far the women's game has come. Obviously, being a former athlete, but just seeing how far and the strides that we've taken forward. We still got a lot of room to grow. But just looking back to see the progress and how quickly it's come in the past few years, let alone the past 5 years. Chris and Angie are owners, and Patrick Mahomes and Brittany Mahomes, and they had a vision and they said, this is what we're doing. We are, going to make history here. And they made it happen. And it's really cool to be under ownership with them, but also all the resources and the attention to detail that they want to get it right, because we are the first, and essentially we're going to be the footprint for everyone else.
Yep. How cool that is. I love that. And have you heard the news that Ted Lasso is coming back for a season 4? And it's going to be a female team that he's the head coach of. And I think I heard that it was like, it's going to be in Kansas.
I heard bits and pieces of it, but I haven't heard like the final details. Honestly, it just gave me the chills.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure that's what it is, that like the home team is, and I always mess this up. So Kansas could be completely different from your Kansas City. Yeah, I don't know.
Right. We're in Missouri, but
okay.
Right on the border. So that's always the fun question, is like, so is Kansas City in Missouri or Kansas? And everybody's like, huh? What?
And I can't remember if Ted was from Kansas or if he was from Kansas City. But I know like season 3 ended with him like going home. And so I can only assume that he's going to be, having coaching a female soccer team in his hometown. So that's very cool. Just more buzz, even though it's, a silly TV show, that really made waves for people in the sense of like, oh, soccer is now on their radar, football. And I think like, even though it's a silly show, the like cultural phenomenon that it was, like how cool that it is going to be taken on the other side now is very exciting.
Totally.
You'll have to have a cameo or something.
I know. Wouldn't that be sweet? Or like they, come in here and they get to video record or something. Like,
who knows? I mean, who knows what's already in the works? That's very exciting. But they'll probably be like filming in LA or something. They'll have some stadium. We can dream. Yeah,
exactly.
But no, I mean, and speaking of cameos, like your like PR or marketing crew or whoever's been creating those videos over the last couple weeks, like the grounds crew has been at the forefront of kind of helping promote the stadium, promoting the team with those bright teal polos that you guys are wearing. I just love it. Have you enjoyed that element of it, the whole helping brand and promote the team as well?
It's been so fun. And honestly, credit to our content team. They were willing, in the busyness of prepping for our season opener and opening weekend and preseason, bouncing back and forth, but they carved out time in their day to come out and really highlight, the importance of what we're doing. And, sometimes that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to create our brand, create, groundskeeping as a whole. I think for our industry and all, just trying to get more people involved, trying to get more interest, seeing, this is something cool. Like athletes, get to just show up sometimes and you kind of forget like this might be a major, this might be, a profession. You don't realize how truly important it is until you step on that field and it's like, oh wow, who did this?
Yeah.
So our content team captured a lot of cool moments for us and we were very grateful for them.
No, it was like elite, like, what is the word? Cinematography.
Yes.
It was like beautiful. But no, I got to speak at a career fair a couple weeks ago for like high school students. And just like, the classroom's windows like face the football stadium. And I was like, how many people, know the name of the person that takes care of that? And they're like, obviously none of them even knew somebody was taking care of it. And just to see them like light up, like, oh, I could like, stay in the game and be a part of my favorite thing by taking this route. It's such a cool when you like see the brain explode for people when you explain to them what you do.
Absolutely. And I think that's one of our goals here in Missouri and Kansas, kind of being on both sides of things. Like, how can we reach out to those high schools? How can we reach out to college kids? How can we reach out to more, just be within the community to develop our brand as Kansas City Current, but also as groundskeepers and sports field managers? And how can we, continue to move our industry in the right direction?
100%. And it's hard because like, I never want to put someone in a box, but like you check so many boxes in the sense that you are like the blueprint for what our industry is looking to sell, essentially, in the sense that you are that D1 athlete who decided to stay in the game by being on the groundskeeping side. And when we talked about your like turf origin story, that was very natural for you to become interested in the industry. Just, I think you said like as early as like middle school, high school, it kind of came on your radar as an opportunity. So talk a little bit about that and how, your story alone can inspire so many people.
Well, thank you. But yeah.
And again, I don't want to put you in a box.
No, you're all good. I mean, when I was, looking back on my journey here, I was sitting down brainstorming with my mom and I was like, what do I want to do? I knew I wanted to play Division I soccer. I was playing competitive soccer at the time. Just finished playing baseball because soccer was kind of taking over and I knew I probably wasn't going to play in high school.
Yeah.
Sad days, but that's okay. And so figuring out what schools do I target. I knew I wanted to go for academics because obviously playing pro wasn't necessarily in my top, but it would have been an option. Could I have gone pro? Probably, but I wanted my professional career in turf was calling my name. So when I sat down at the table, my mom was like, what do you want to do? She found this turf program. And then I've been mowing since I was 6 years old. So it's just kind of a natural thing. And I said, you know what, that's what I'm going to do. So I narrowed down all my top schools based on the agriculture programs for horticulture, for turf grass management. So going to all these showcases, I really only looked at schools that offered potential opportunities at those places. And Iowa State happened to be one. And they also had two other routes that I could have gone if I want to go education, if I want to go to kinesiology. So there were fallbacks just in case. My academic advisor always joked. He's like, well, if you ever become allergic to the grass, you can always fall back on something else.
Yeah.
I said, well, plot twist, I am allergic, but I'm still going to stay in it.
Nice.
So,
I think allergies, like every 7 years, they either get worse or they get better. So there's still hope that it could, or, get better and improve.
I hope so. Yeah. But so Iowa State offered a scholarship to play Division I soccer, and my department, I can't speak highly enough, knew my name before I stepped on campus. Freshman orientation, my Barb Clausen, she's our academic coordinator there. She swooped me right in and said, you know what? I have a job for you already at the stadium. You're going to meet with Tim Van Loo.
Amazing.
Here are these people. Here's this. And I literally started 3 days later and I had no idea what was happening. But I was like, okay, city girl showing up in Iowa. with all these farm boys, and me, and they're like, get on a mower, and I'm like, doo, 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 doo. Like it was so funny. But
I love it.
I mean, it was a passion that I wanted to give back. I wanted to continue to be in sports, but give back in a different way.
Yeah.
Love being outside. I can't do an office job.
No.
I mean, I have to be moving all the time. So to be able to be out in the sun, to enjoy, I guess 4 seasons potentially in 2 days. I don't know. It could have snow, rain.
Variety.
I don't know what's happening. But to develop my skills at Iowa State, and then them promoting me for what I want to do. And I mean, the first conversation I had was, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? And I said, I want to go to the Chicago Cubs. Like, my dream is to be an MLB head groundskeeper for the Chicago Cubs.
Wow.
I'm like, okay, we'll get you in contact. So got in contact that next summer, and I had an internship with the Cubs. I mean, my hometown team. Grew up watching. My grandpa was crying tears of joy when I told him, because
that is so sweet.
That's just how, and obviously you can't be like fangirling walking in, but it was just like, yep, here's Wrigley Field. And I just got to spend the summer there. One of my buddies from Iowa State was actually also an intern, so I had a familiar face working there.
Cool.
But Dan Kiermaier over there and that whole crew, I mean, the one thing I learned from there is personality. You walk in with a solid personality, and the rest works itself out.
I love that.
We're there to have fun. Like, in baseball, you're working a lot of hours.
Yeah. Certainly. Well, so hometown is Chicago, because that's where I stopped us. We started to get into, where your fiance is from, where you're from. And I was like, hold on, we need to press record. So your hometown is Chicago, though.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
And then where is he from?
He's from Chicago as well. We grew up together. My parents were our second grade PB soccer coaches.
Oh, too sweet. Oh my gosh.
Went to middle school, went to high school together, and started dating sophomore year of high school. And then he went to Minnesota. He studied mathematics, got a degree in mathematics, minored in computer science and statistics.
Okay.
And went into the actuarial route. So he got a job out in Boston. So he graduated in 3 years, got a job out with Deloitte. He's an actuary now. And then I went to Iowa State, took my COVID year because COVID hit my spring freshman year.
Okay.
So I got an extra year of eligibility, took that. So he went out there, and then once I graduated, I had an opportunity in Kansas City, and I'm like, how do I can't turn this down.
Of course.
We are managing. We got, I think, 6 years. We'll be together for 9 years in June.
Oh my gosh.
We're getting married in December.
Okay. And then is Kansas City going to be home for him?
We're still in the works.
Okay.
We're still in the works with that. So we'll kind of see how it all plays out. But absolutely love it here.
Yeah.
But
well, I mean, as someone who's been married, I've been married, I think, going on 8 years. I think long distance marriage sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I would love it if he was cross country.
Yep.
I'll send you an email on the updates of my life at the end of the week.
Oh, so funny. So funny.
Oh, but I know, like, when it's exciting and new, it's like there's nothing you want more than to, be experiencing all the big things together. So
totally.
Best of luck navigating that. I think that that's something that everyone in the turf industry has, is that, willingness to kind of pick up their lives and go where the opportunity is. So hopefully he also has that, and he's willing to come follow your crazy pursuits around the world.
Yes, we'll see.
So were you at Iowa at the same time as like Josh Lenz, or is he a bit before your time?
I think he's a bit before my time.
Okay. Because I know what's funny with him is like he wanted to do the coaching route. And he was like an assistant basketball coach at Iowa State. And then he got roped in with Tim. And I think that's just a credit to who Tim Van Loo is a lot of people that come through his program may not have had, long-term career goals, but it just becomes like the inevitable for them. They see all of the wonderful things about the industry, like working on his crew, of being a part of his team, and it just like all falls into place.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, especially being an athlete, like your schedules are crazy. And another credit to the horticulture department at Iowa State is that they are very flexible with your schedules.
Okay.
And so like we'd have training from 1 to 5 p.m. every day. Well, aren't those when your classes are? So they would make sure and rearrange classes so I could make everything work, which not a lot of one places will do that, and two departments, let alone horticulture. And it's a smaller department, so you only have classes that are offered once or twice, maybe a week, for the semester. So to be able to have that flexibility helps immensely.
Wild. And talk a little bit about playing for the college, then also being on the other side of it. Like, did your teammates like have similar interest in the pitch that you guys were playing on, or was that like your opportunity to be like, oh, you guys, let's take a closer look here? Or were you kind of like, the team mascot in a sense, where if they ever had like a complaint or question, they would bring it right to you? Like, I can't imagine what that dynamic was like.
So funny. Every time we go somewhere, because obviously you're playing on Bermuda fields, you're playing on bluegrass fields. And it's interesting because Iowa State, up until my super senior year, was the only field that was artificial. Us and Texas Tech. So we needed a new field pretty bad. And finally we got it. And that was my, you could stay for another year if you want to stay on, natural grass. I was like, that'd be nice. But that was always the joke, was going to different, stadiums and different venues and seeing like, what kind of grass? Oh, Mira, what grass is this? I actually kept a pocket knife in my locker so I could go out and fix divots that we just made after, to help alleviate the stress of my guys. Cause I also would work maybe an hour or so. Off days just to go and mow. Cause it was my escape. Like, being a college athlete, it can be very stressful, and you
grueling.
There's so much going on at one time, and you just need an escape. And that's what I think I enjoyed it extra, because I had the escape to go hang out with the guys who don't really have the drama, who don't really, think about all these types of things. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to go hang out with the guys, chill for, 2 hours, and then go back to business. But
I love it.
So funny, some off days I'd go and mow our training facility. And some girls would be out there doing extra work, and they're like, hey, Mira, what's up? I'm like, hey, just seeing you on the other side. I'll just mow for you real quick. No worries.
That's so cool.
But yeah,
I love
cool
that
opportunity to have both.
And we talked a little bit about the women in turf team, and your, wanting to get involved in that. But, going from being on playing, soccer with females your whole life, having the team be like that, and then to transition to where now your team is probably primarily, well, and I know you do have an assistant who's a female as well. But typically, like, walking into most crews, you're going to be outnumbered in that sense. So what are the similarities or the differences that you found, like being on an all-female soccer team and then majority of our industry being it mostly male dominated?
Yeah. Well, something here that we're trying to bring to our crew is trying to have an all-female crew here.
Okay, very cool.
So we're trying to push as hard as possible. Obviously, there's only a few of us, and obviously situations come and people.
Are you going to give Jared the boot? I'm
kidding. No, he's honestly one of the biggest supporters, and I think that's what drives our department forward so much. Is he is backing us 100% of the way, and he's 100% in on what we're doing as an organization, and where we want to go. But it is a little bit different, being around all females, and just I absolutely love it, because obviously, but sometimes I think the attention to detail is way higher. Where then you walk into a male environment and they're just, hey, what's up? Yeah. So it's kind of nice to have a change of pace.
Definitely.
And I feel like I'm an overthinker too. So I like to, I'm a perfectionist as well. So going into an environment.
Well, that's like the stat sheet that you have to have as a groundskeeper.
Exactly.
Like attention to detail, overachiever, perfectionist, overthinker. Like that just is, if you don't have that, then you're in the wrong place.
And I'll give credit to some of my guys too. It's just like, they have the personality that just calms me. Yeah. So you can talk to them and it's like, why are you freaking out? Like, relax. Like, it's going to be just fine.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you're right. You're right. Can't control that right now. I can't control the snow that's going sideways and thinking that the grass should be like, I don't know, something crazy. But I think those are the major differences, is just the level. And it also depends on the person too, the personalities that everybody has. And everybody brings something different to the table.
Of course. No, that's so cool. Okay, so give me a timeline on KC Current. So you came on board after they had already like premiered, or were you on board before like kickoff ever took place at the stadium?
So I was on board before the kickoff even took place.
So cool.
That was last year, was the inaugural season. We opened March of last year.
Okay.
So I came in February.
So
second week of February. So I was there a month prior to. Kind of got the rules of the road, kind of figured out what was going on. And then we opened the stadium, and it was the day before the match. The amount of people in this place.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it was vendors. It was, TV channels. So they said on average per game, there's around I think it was 40 to 50 news people that come, and just from all over, right? And they said for the home opener, they had to bring in more people, but they also had to provide more space somehow.
Yeah.
And they had to rearrange everything. They had 120 plus media members.
Oh my gosh.
So it was triple what they are used to. But it was international, it was worldwide, it was,
the buzz,
national television. It was crazy. So it was honestly, it's history. So it's a moment that I'll never forget. And everyone who's part of it too, how cool, and the environment, just the electricity in the city, leading up to it, the week of, there was nothing that could have changed. Gives me chills right now thinking about it.
I love that for you. That's so incredible.
Yeah.
Maritza Macera's, or I always say her last name wrong because I had a college roommate who her last name was Macera. But Maritza Martinez, I always love her build up to opening day, that she does on social media. And I'm sure you guys have talked before, the hype of that and how cool it is to be a part of that.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Maritza actually kind of took me under her wing a little bit, and that's what I appreciate her for. 2 years ago, she introduced me to a bunch of other women in the industry. And then she was like, if I can ever help, let me know. They were opening their stadium at the time.
So cool.
And I was like, I kind of want to, be like that too. So ended up coming here and having this opportunity just fall into my lap, and just wanted to seize the moment.
I love it. No, I love her, and I love, her ability to connect people as well. And just how important that is, no matter what position you have, just to be able to be a resource for someone.
Especially younger women coming out of the industry, and the connections are crazy.
Something I always talk to Tyler Morris, he's over at MetLife about, is just it doesn't matter, male, female, what have you, old, veteran, young, being in a head position, that is not for the weak. So similar to you, he came from his college days. I think he had a year working university athletics, and then he was managing a massive enterprise. I wouldn't even call it a stadium. And it's I just can't imagine how just at that age to pull something like that off. So it doesn't even, male, female, whatever. The fact that you were doing it at your age as well, that's just incredible. A feat within itself, just insane to me. I can't wrap my head around it.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of props to head groundskeepers. Groundskeepers in general, the amount of hours you don't talk about, and the amount, laying down in bed, you're a proper groundskeeper. When you're laying down, you're shoot, did I remember to do this?
Yeah.
Shoot, did I move this off the field? Is the irrigation going to hit it? Just certain things, oh no, I think I forgot to paint the corner of something. So just those little details that are constantly keeping you up, just because, you want the best for every athlete that steps on your field.
And do you think being an athlete and having the pressure of, every week you've got that big game, or even in the off season, you're in pursuit of something, how much of that has really played into your ability to be successful on this side of the game?
I think a lot of it comes from that. You don't realize how much overlaps. And I take that to my advantage, and something that's unique to me personally is having that athletic experience and being in those situations as an athlete to see, you know, how does this field feel? How does the length of this grass feel? Cutting in certain areas, more of like the overall body movements, and then how like recovery. So thinking after a match, how your body feels. And, you know, if you're more sore, you feel a certain way, how can you adjust the field and manipulate the field to make sure that those things don't happen, or to minimize, you know, the amount of recovery that you need to do because, you know, your legs are, I mean, that was the biggest thing is Iowa State had an artificial field, and then we'd go play. So we play a Thursday, Sunday game. Thursday we play at home, and maybe Sunday was away at a natural field. And it took us, it was horrible because you go from a natural or artificial, and then your body is so beat up from that because it's not absorbing the proper energy, and your recovery took that much longer. And then on Sunday, you were flat because you were just exhausted, you were fatigued, your muscles just couldn't adapt because it was so used to the artificial. So I think that's also plays in a very important role in understanding the playability of two different surfaces and how you can, you know, provide for the athletes now.
Definitely. And what are some of those other elements, you know, being an athlete, being a part of the team, the camaraderie, like all the benefits that come from, you know, being an athlete and being a part of a team that you see that are still reflected on this side of, you know, the groundskeeping side of the industry?
Yeah, I think that comes with crews too. You know, the way that you go about your everyday, like you bringing that positivity, you bringing that energy, you know, you're all in it. You're a team. You're all going through it, spending the hours together, the time, like everything. So I always call it, you know, when you're on a team, it's like your sorority, right? Like you're walking into like, these are the people that essentially, these are your friends. Here you go.
Yeah.
It's not like a crew, like you're walking in and these are the people, this is your family now.
Yeah.
And how do you know, make everyone create an environment that's inclusive, create an environment that everyone feels comfortable learning. I think that's one thing is development is huge here. And we want to develop to make sure that we accomplish our goals moving forward. Like we're all so extremely young. What are some things that we can do now as our foundation that we can now take strides forward to move up the ladder of what we want to do, become ahead, become, you know, go work in overseas, stay here, like all these different, you know, possibilities in our industry, and how can we create a better brand just based on our team. Like I said, our department's known as the Department of Sunshine.
I love that.
You know, we're quote unquote a breath of fresh air for other people. And that's what we want. Like we want to be good human beings that invite everyone to, you know, just experience what we love to do each and every day. And like the passion that's driven, it's a passion driven job. Like you can't just show up. Like you gotta show up with some enthusiasm. Otherwise,
a love for it, like a deep rooted love for what you're doing.
Totally. Maybe some caffeine here and there, but
definitely. Well, and, you know, I talked a little bit about like the pressure and the intensity of, you know, being so young and having to provide this product, but also like, how did you navigate immediately being placed in a leadership role? And how much did you have to rely on your past experiences with mentors or leaders? And on day one, you had to come in and kind of have a blueprint for the type of leader you wanted to be. How did you really navigate that?
Yeah. Again, going back to being an athlete, like you don't realize how many tools you have in your toolbox until you show up and you're like, oh, you know, I know how to write an email. I know how to time manage. I know how to keep a schedule. I'm a big routine person. So, you know, now you have all this time and you get to, you know, kind of create it the way you want to. Yeah. But also leaning on so many of so I was down in Louisville. And so Aaron Fink, I was under him for a little bit.
Okay, that is where I must have seen your face the first time.
That could be.
Because I can remember when you messaged me when we were in Palm Springs, I'm like, I'd seen you associated with the KC Current a million times by then. But I was like, you seemed so familiar to me. And that must have been it, because we came down at one point and did like a feature on Aaron.
Actually, the stars or something, maybe?
That was like SFMA related, but there was like an NCAA or NCAA tournament, and I was super pregnant, so I wasn't there. So I was just at home editing the photos. So I wonder if that's when I first saw you, when it first came across my desk.
Yeah. So
but what a guy. Wow. Go ahead. Keep going.
It's funny because I've been texting him the last few days, just going back and forth about his, how's their field doing? Because they essentially have the same architecture of our stadium.
Okay.
So we both have this like U shape. So we deal with shade and it causes issues, but that's another topic for another time. But leaning on him, leaning on Dan, and then obviously Joe, who's now at Iowa State. Josh was at Iowa State when I was there, and then also Tim. So I've been fortunate to have so many great mentors underneath me, or who've taught me, in my experience. I mean, for example, one of the things, something small, but forklift driving. So the Cubs got us all certified.
Okay.
And so when I showed up, no one was certified here. And they were like, you're certified, you need to jump on the forklift and let's go. I was like, all right. So I literally spent like 4 hours on a forklift because that's what needed to be done for the task.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like you don't realize those like little things or working on specific, softwares or, Workday or Paycor or whatever, your hour tracking hours. But being put into a higher leadership role, that's something that I cherish just because it doesn't happen very often. I mean, being so young and then just being presented this opportunity, and it was kind of like a sink or swim, like you're going to have to figure it out because one, the show's going to go on either way, but how can you make the most of this opportunity? Because that's going to help you succeed in the future.
Definitely.
And so I think that's also the best thing is sometimes you get nervous and you have a fear of, I don't know if I'm ready, if I'm this. And one thing that I've learned is it's almost better just to dive head first into the fire and just do it because you learn so much looking back on it. And it's like, wow, I didn't even think I was able to do that. And you did it. So,
well, and I think like there's such like a buzz topic or term is like that work-life balance. And so much of who I am outside of work has like fueled who I am at work, like, becoming like a partner and having to have conflict resolution and like talk through things and work on projects together, and then becoming a mom and how like literally every day is a dumpster fire. Like that is now like, I feel like at the start of my career, I needed like perfect conditions in order to be successful at work. Like I couldn't have somebody look at me the wrong way, or like too many emails coming through at the same time, or too many tasks that had overlapping deadlines. Now it's like throw anything at me and like I know that it's going to be fine, because like who I've become outside of work, like that's what I've learned, that like if you take it one step at a time, like things will get done. And I think that's similar to what you were saying, is like all those little lessons that you get along the way, like they become important. And all those mentors, all those 3-hour calls with a mentor that might seem like, oh, this is eating up my time, like how those really play into the bigger picture.
Totally. I mean, you said it spot on. Like all those little things kind of build up, and then when the moment comes, no one can really prepare you for the moment.
Yeah.
But all those little things building up have prepared you, and you just don't even know it.
Definitely. Well, even though I literally just said work-life balance doesn't exist, to go back on that, one of the like segments we've created is like, who you are outside of the job. Like, what are the things that you love to do? What are the things you love to listen to? What content are you consuming? What are the things that fuel your passions for not grass?
Yeah, I love to work out because that's just something that's in my nature.
And you've got all the time in the world to make that happen.
Yeah,
so that makes
absolutely.
sense.
It's basically 5 a.m. or 10 p.m. at night. It's one of the two.
Yeah.
But being able to go work out, I love listening to country music. I'm a big Tate McRae person right now.
Yes.
It's just, I don't know, it's hot on the hits right now. So
I love her.
I'm more of a music gal than podcast gal when it comes to riding on a mower or doing daily tasks. I obviously wedding planning and all that fun stuff, so that adds to it. It's all exciting.
Yeah.
But I got a Cricut for Christmas.
Okay, fun.
And so I've created like a little side business.
Very cool.
Customizing, t-shirts or water bottles, creating custom cards, and I send them out to whoever wants them.
Cool.
And kind of just like word of mouth based on Facebook. But that's kind of my escape outside of that.
Yeah.
And then reading here and there.
Oh, you just hit my like favorite word in the entire
reading.
I love
what are your
reading.
Books? What's your go-to?
So like my favorite, I don't know. I joined like a book club. And so it's like forced me to read different genres that I never would have like explored. So now I can't even like pin down a favorite, but like my all-time favorite author is like Kristen Hanna, historical fiction. It's like, if you haven't read one of her books, like
so good.
It's life-changing. People at the office tell me I use that term way too much.
Life-changing.
but I swear, like I can remember like exactly where I was every time I've like finished one of her books. But I also just love like a silly like romance trope. Like my favorite actually is like your life story where it's like childhood friends who end up together. That's like my favorite book trope in the world. And so I love historical fiction. I love that trope. Like I could literally talk for days, like about books.
All right. Well, we'll have to talk more about more books after this. But
yes,
have you read Fourth Wing?
Of course.
That's what I'm on Onyx Storm right now. I'm halfway through it, but oh my goodness, it's unreal.
Well, you pretty much just outed us as like reading porno. Like that's essentially what that book is.
Oh, it's crazy.
But there's also like dragons and war and all these things. Yeah. But it's funny because anytime like a male coworker will tell me like, oh yeah, my wife's reading that one, I'll be like, okay.
Oh yeah. Yep. No, honestly, it's so good. Just like this.
It is. I will say like Fourth Wing, when I read that one, it was like, I probably hadn't felt like that from a book in so long where like I could not put it down.
No, you can't.
It was so good. It was something I never read fantasy before. Like I've seen like plenty of fantasy, like TV series or movies, but I never read it. And I just love like the world building that she did. Like, but then I will say like Iron Flame completely disappointed me until like the last third of the book. Yeah. Where it was like, okay, they might give me something. And then we'll have to revisit your thoughts on Onyx Storm once you finish it, because
the client, it's like rising action right now. So it's about to just get good.
Yeah.
But I got about like 30 chapters left.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You're in it for the long haul for sure with her books. I will say, she has another book that's not like fantasy, and it's called The Things We Left Unwritten or Unfinished. And it's like the book cover is like a mailbox and a bunch of letters in it. Yeah. That is one of my favorite books. Yeah. Especially if you love her writing style, like where it's just super wordy and a ton of like description. I really love that book. Trying to think if there was another one by her that I would say don't read. I'm gonna have to look it up because I don't want you to fall into the trap. It was literally one of the worst books I ever read.
Oh, that's
Let's
funny.
See. It was just like so. Do you have Goodreads?
I do not, but I need to get it. Yeah.
You got to get on Goodreads because it's just like your catalog of all that you've read. But let me find the one book that I literally, The Last Letter. Do not read The Last Letter by Rebecca Yarros.
That's so funny. No, it's funny because my best friend, she actually got me on these books.
Okay.
And she has Goodreads as well. And she's like, Mira, like, you need to get on this. Like, you need to
get on it. It's incredible. Liz Moore is another author that I love. She wrote God of the Woods, which has been like all over like book talk. But she also wrote a book called Long Bright River that was just like
so good.
One of my favorite tropes is also like reading about heroin addicts, and that's what that book is. I don't know what it is, but like Yeah, like one
your
of my
husband's gonna be like, "Are you okay?"
no, seriously, if people saw my Goodreads, it would be like, what is wrong with this person? Because yeah, the last book I read was The Many Lives of Mama Love, a memoir of lying, stealing, writing, and healing. And it was like the journey of a heroin addict.
That's crazy. That's wild.
Friends to lovers and heroin. That's my
that's your go-to. Are you okay?
yeah. Let's do a pulse check on that one.
No, but that's a good way to escape because it's just
completely. I think people
time.
like will be like, how do you have time to read? Like you've got so much going on, but like I need to be able at the end of the day, like nobody bother me. I want to go live in a different dimension. Yep. Like
exactly.
Because TV really like it doesn't do that for me anymore. And I think it is because TV has become so immersive, like where like the music and the lighting, like it's incredible. Like we're making like masterpieces every time we have a show. But like I've had to stop watching so much TV because it gives me anxiety. Like it brings me so far in where I feel like I'm living that like Severance. My husband is watching that. I'm like, I cannot continue. Like,
I've heard people say it's so good, but I don't know. I haven't jumped on the train yet.
Yeah. Or like The Bear. I loved The Bear.
And that one too.
I'd have to only watch it like when I was having a very good day. The sun is out, like the birds are chirping, because it would like literally put me into like a deep depression. And it's about restaurant work. Like, what is this?
Yeah, no, honestly, I turned my TV on for the first time, I think in 4 weeks. And it was like struggling to connect to the Wi-Fi and everything. I was like, all right, well, this tells you right there that I have not been home the last few weeks.
Yep. Well, yeah, I rarely turn the TV on, but if I do, it's for some trashy reality TV. Yep. That is my go-to.
Yep. Yep. Are you a Love Island person?
I've never watched Love Island because it's like I listen to like a daily pop culture podcast where they will like recap things like that. So I can never catch up because it's one of those daily like
you gotta stay on it.
You gotta stay on it. But I do like Love is Blind. That's one of I love those ones. It's too good.
You ever seen The Circle?
No, but my sister-in-law watched that one and gave me a play-by-play of that one. I would be amazing at that game.
Yeah, you would. I can see. I can see that.
Like I literally, that's my job is like branding and trying to get people to, like a certain thing or someone. So
buy into certain things. Yep.
Yes. So I hope I've been successful in the last 45 minutes, getting you to be a fan of the Groundskeeper chat. I hope it was a positive experience for you.
Yes. Well, you're very good at your job.
You're a lifelong fan now.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. And like I said, the 5-10 minutes that we got at SFMA definitely wasn't enough. And I should have mentioned this so much earlier. I was thinking about it this morning, but we recorded with Max Casper, who's now the head groundskeeper of the Reno Aces. And I was really tempted to just cut him out of the episode because him and I have this bit going on where like several years ago, him and I recorded a groundskeeper chat. And one thing led to another where like his episode never got posted. And then it was like far too late. Like it was just an oversight, like a total mistake on my end.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, I can't post it like 9 months later. Like, and then I was like doing graphics for SFMA and I cut him out of a photo that he was in. And I used like Leah's face in a photo that it was of the two of them. Yeah. So he was like, all week, he was like, oh, you're just cutting me out of things, like never giving me my time to shine. So I'm super tempted to just cut him out of the episode and be like, Groundskeeper chat with Mira Emma. Because the bit has to live on. I mean, it's too good to let it die. We'll see how I'm feeling. If I'm feeling feisty, you'll see that he got cut out. Or we'll have to like take our photo from SFMA and like,
put someone else.
Yeah, put a face over his face. It would be hysterical.
Oh, that's so
we could have like two mirrors because I think I'm standing in the middle. If we like Photoshop your face on both of them. Either way, I'm definitely going to send him that. Like, and be like, hey, this is...
See what I'm about to post?
Yeah, what do you think about the graphic for our episode? Too good. So we'll see how...
It's just comical.
I can't let the bit die at this point. There's so many years invested, and it would just be a shame to let it go. So we'll see if he's a true fan, if he listens to this episode and made it all the way to the end, because I think we've been recording for like an hour now. So
So funny. So funny. Oh,
well,
man.
I really
just wanna say
appreciate your
thank
team.
you.
Oh, team and time.
Yes. Well, thank you. Thank you for having me on, and it's been fun to catch up.
Definitely. And I think this is just the start of, hearing from you and keeping up with you. It's been so fun to follow along your journey, but then also just the KC current and all that you guys have going on. So I'm excited to also become a lifelong fan of yours and the team. So,
well, I appreciate that. And we appreciate it too. Thank you.
Of course. You've got a fan in me. I'll always be posting retweet, which is it now like re-X or something? I'm not sure.
I don't know what it is. I don't know. Beats me.
Well, thank you so much. We'll definitely talk soon, and you have a great rest of your day.
Sounds good. Thank you. You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.